For our next project, we're going to be working on the dart for Metals 2. So we're going to open up a standard inches part file. Let's go to our sketch mode. And we're going to start with just the stock first. So it's going to start as, looks like 0.45. Oh, we'll go ½ inch, 0.5 diameter. Let's finish that. Extrude this out. You'll have something that's about 2½ inches long. Okay. Then on either side, we're going to tap into it. So let's make a new sketch on that face. And we can finish it immediately because it puts a little dot in for us when we make a sketch on a circle. On that dot, we're going to make a tapped hole. It's something that we haven't talked a whole lot about yet, is different hole types and how to read them. This little thing down here, the first number it gives you is the diameter. The second number it gives you is how many threads there are per inch. And then the letter designation afterward lets you know if it's coarse or fine or extra fine threads. So UNC is Unified National Coarse Threads. These would be super fine, fine, extra fine. And it's just different derivations of that. And we have, notice the diameter is the same in all of these, and the threads per inch is different in each one. Alright, what we're actually looking for is not going to be a 1/4 inch. Change the diameter, the size here. We want this to actually be 1032. So this is 1024. 1032 would be UNF, Unified National Fine. And 10 is a diameter. If you remember from working on the top project, this is a metric designation. Number 10 is a metric size. So 10 millimeters in diameter, 32 threads per inch, Unified National Fine. And that's going to be threaded to full depth. Click OK. Oh, you know what? We didn't give it a depth for that hole. So double click on hole. It's actually not 1 inch deep. According to my drawing, this is actually supposed to be a depth of 0.75. And I believe that will be on both sides. So let's make a new sketch over here and finish it. Click on the dot, hole. This is going to be tapped again. It's 0.75 and it's 1032 again. Perfect. Now let's go into our origin folder. We're going to start to make a revolve on here. Let's go new sketch. Let's slice graphics. Oop, not create feature. Slice graphics. Okay, so there we can see our 2 taps. That looks good. But now we're also going to go ahead and change a few other things. We're going to remove a chunk of this. It's probably going to be best to project geometry first. So I have a line up here. I want this angle to be 80 degrees. Okay, and I'm going to have the exact same thing on this side. So let's project the geometry of this bottom face here. Let's make another line. Let's not try and snap that to anything. Let's also have this be at 80 degrees. Okay, and let's go back to projecting geometry again. We're going to show this outside edge. We're going to trim off the parts we don't need there and there. And I'm going to draw in with lines to make this look like a triangle. This is all well and good, but I don't know, or you wouldn't know just from looking at this. I don't know if I got that right. You wouldn't know how far over to make this. You know it's supposed to be 10 degrees. this angle inside here is 10 degrees, but you don't know how far over this should be. The drawing says that it is 0.23 diameter, which means that from this center point here to here should be half of that. 0.23 divided by 2. Okay, and we can go ahead and make that a vertical constraint with the top one. So they're at the exact same place. Alright, so those are locked into position. I have two solids. If I go to 3D model and revolve, I should be able to click on both of those surfaces, and I can cut to remove material using the, what would that be? Z-axis to revolve around. So there's cutting away from both sides. Let's check that off. That looks good. Now to make this look a little nicer on the inside part here, actually, yeah, I like that. That seems okay. Let's go back to our, one of these planes here that cuts through the middle, and make a new sketch again. Slice graphics. I'm going to project the geometry of one of these sides, and it looks like we're just going to notch into this. So if we use our circle tool, we are going to cut in. We're going to end up making 5 cuts in here, and we're going to make them 1/32, so 0.03125 with the diameter of your circle there. Okay, let's go and make one over here. Actually, it seems a little too low. Tell you what, let's just go ahead and revolve cut this one. Let's see what that would look like. So here's revolve. We have just a circle. So make sure we select that as our feature. We are removing material. For your axis, you're selecting the Z-axis again. Click OK. And now we can actually use the rectangular pattern tool, using that as our feature. For the direction, I think we can pick the Z-axis. Perfect. We're going to have it go in both directions, so out of the midplane. And we need 5 altogether. Okay, now let's figure out spacing. How about 1/8 inch spacing? What does that look like? That's looking pretty good to me. What if we did, instead of 1/8 inch spacing, 1/4 inch spacing? I think 1/4 inch is actually going to look better. So spaced out 1/4 inch. And let's see here. That might be about it. All the way up until the drawing part. So again, this is not something that should take you very long. This is just a single part file. Now when you're actually making these, you're going to have to make 3 of them to be the exact same and have the exact same placement of the notches, angles, everything else. And it has to be tapped. That's just using a tap. You don't have to do that manually. But you're actually going to thread in both the fletching and the dart tip, so you can actually use these. It's a usable object. Alright, this is aluminum. So let's change the material type up here to polished aluminum. And save this. You may have to make a new folder for it. And we're going to make this into the Dart project. So next video we're going to go over how to make drawing files for this, which is a little bit more complicated. We're going to get into how to make section views, how to make detail views, and why we would do some of that stuff. So we're going to hold off on that, and we'll pick up on